Well, welcome to Dartmoor, everybody. It's a bit of a blustery, southwesterly and westerly today, and it's going to stay blustery over the next few days. But because it's coming from this side, our regular spot should be reasonably sheltered. You might notice a different pack. I bought this from America. This is the HMG Hyperlight mountain gear. This is the Windrider 70. So this is a big ass pack, 70 litres. We filled it up. I kind of haven't worried too much about weight or space because it's an easy, relaxing camp, and I've just, chucked the kitchen sink in really. I estimate it's, I should have weighed it, but I estimate 12 to 14 kilograms. It's comfortable enough. There is something at the top of the back system which I can feel, I wouldn't say digging into my back or my shoulder blades, but I can feel something that doesn't feel very comfortable, but not uncomfortable. It carries well. It feels secure. I don't think it's as comfortable as the Gregory, but then you in a way you're comparing apples and oranges with this and the Gregory. This is a stripped down lightweight pack. Although the interesting thing there is this is about 1.2 kilograms in this configuration, so 1,250 grams to be exact, but I'll just use round figures for simplicity. So this is about 1.2 kilograms, and I will admit I was surprised at how, in inverted commas, light the Gregory was, because it is heavier than this, but for some reason I was expecting it to be like 2 kilograms, but it was 1,650 grams in a similar configuration. So we'll call it 1.6 kilograms, for E. So they're both. So I'm taking 50 grams off both for ease. So it's only 400 grams heavier than this, which, it is not very much. And if they took off I'm sure the zips on that Gregory are probably popular and all that, but if they took off those stupid zips and a tweak here or there, maybe not an adjustable back system, but a medium and a large, they'd probably get that pack to a similar weight to this. Okay, it wouldn't be as big. That's 58, this is 70, but I must admit I am now almost more impressed with the Gregory. One thing I have definitely noticed though, I don't know whether I can show you, but the zip here is a million times better than the Gregory pocket zip there. This zip is just like dead easy to open and close one-handed. Really, really easy. And the Gregory Zip one-handed is a pig. Putting it mildly, it's almost impossible one-handed. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I need to use this pack, you know, a lot more. But yeah, the shoulder straps, they're not as comfortable as the MLD shoulder straps on the MLD frameless packs. I think that pack, that Exodus, I think is more comfortable to carry than this with a similar weight. The only thing with the Exodus, it's not as big. So, and obviously it's going to be significantly lighter than this. Well, a lot lighter anyway, I don't know about significantly, but certainly a lot lighter. Yeah, like I said, I must admit my first impressions of this pack are, given how much it cost, I wouldn't say disappointing, but I was hoping it would be a little bit more comfortable on the shoulders. But like I said, it is a minimalist pack, and so obviously the shoulder straps are very, very minimal on it. I'm just surprised that it's not as comfortable as my Exodus pack. That kind of surprises me a bit, given it's got a frame. I'll have to have a look at the shoulder straps on that Exodus, but they feel, because I've carried 14 kilograms in that, not, you know, not bulky stuff, but like lighter weight 3-season stuff, but then food, like 4 or 5 days of food. It's just winter stuff, you can't get in it. Well, not so easily anyway. When I was in the Lake District, I went into Needle Sports and I bought some more roll mat. So this piece here is 80 centimeters wide and 1.5 meters long. So the length of it, the 1.5 meters, is the width of the roll. So when you buy it, it's kind of, you know, it's a very long tube of you know, a foam mat. Like I said, it's 1.5 meters wide when you buy it, but if you cut off a piece that's like 2 feet or 2.5 feet and then roll it down, and then you've got a tube like I've got here, which does look a little bit odd on the side of the pack, but I've made it about 6 inches wider on each side of my foam mat. So obviously if the foam mat moves a bit, which is quite likely to, you still got foam mat under you, and when you're moving around, especially in winter, it is nice that your bum, if it comes off those fairly narrow, you know, mats, then it is nice to have, you know, something foam under your backside. I bought 3 meters of it and I've cut off about 80 centimeters, so I've got plenty more that I can play with. So maybe in the summer I might cut off a piece, but maybe not as wide, because you probably don't need it as wide, you know, in the summer months. In the pack we've got the Nammatj 2. We've got a very thick, warm airbag, which I've probably had it for 5, oh no, more. I've probably had it like 10 years. And I've never ever brought it camping because it's just not it's just not a camping mat. I thought I would bring it. I wanted to load up the pack quite a bit, and the Nammatj is obviously 3 kilograms plus pegs, I think, and the roll and the mat, the air mat, is about 1.2, and I've got the Jetboil or Minimo and the frying pan. So yeah, we are going to do a steak tomorrow. I thought, well, I've not had a steak out here probably since spring or something like that. It's a while, I'm sure. So we are going to have a steak tomorrow and some asparagus. Masna. All right, we've got to turn off somewhere along here, but as you can see, it's a wee bit misty. So just for the fun of it, because we're not going to get lost out here, we'll see whether we can find our spot in this mist. I think we should be able to. Famous last words, obviously, but the weather is coming in somewhat. It's not very nice. It's another miserable camping weather trip. I checked the forecast for tomorrow, and it really doesn't look very good. Oh, it really doesn't look. I can see what I need to head off by now. It really doesn't look very nice weather. It's so misty. I nearly missed my turning off point, but I could just see it in the mist, and that rain is coming down. Oh. Okay, so we've got a path here. We can follow this. You might be able to see that cattle feeding station. That's my turning off point. So not really. Well, I won't say you can't miss it, because when it's dark and misty, you definitely can miss it, because navigating in the dark and mist is really the worst. It's horrible. It's really, really difficult navigating in dark mist. What else can we talk about? Okay, in August, when someone went somewhere else, those that follow will get my gist, I was about 86 something kilograms. I wasn't 87. I don't know whether I've ever been 87. Probably not, hopefully not. I kind of stayed fat without being, you know, overly fat. And then after August, I sort of cut back on some food. To be honest, all I've done is just eat less. I haven't really changed what I eat, because I enjoy food too much. So I've just cut back on the amount, and I've tried to cut back on picking, which is probably still not the easiest of things. But I weighed myself before coming out here today, 78 kilograms. So 2 more kilograms would get me down to obviously 76, and that would be 10 kilograms gone, you know, since I started trying to be good. So we'll certainly get down to that at some point. I don't really have a time frame. I have noticed that when I first started being really good, the weight just seemed to fall off, and then it just slowed right down. So I don't know. And then obviously we've got Christmas coming up, so I'm going to have my roast potatoes and turkey and stuffing. I'm not, and then that's another point where I know I need to turn right. This is, for me, this is like walking in a park down here. I just know it so well. So yeah, so I might be a bit more naughty with the turkey and roast potatoes, but I'll try and be reasonable. I probably won't have too much sweet stuff, and I am at least walking, you know, a bit more than I was. So you got to enjoy your turkey. Well, unless you're a vegetarian or vegan, then you're not. I mean, it's just me and the folks, but and they normally they would have come over, but their mobility now is all but zero. So I think what I'll do is I'll cook up the old bird probably Christmas Eve, and then just take some over on Christmas Day and have some with them on Christmas Day, and then have some more Christmas evening probably. I might try and dehydrate some, and then I can bring some. Bring some some dehydrated Christmas dinner. And I noticed that Expedition Meals are going to do a new recipe, or they're looking into it. I don't know whether they'll ever send me one. Haggis. So I think I've written it down, although I wrote down Scotland food because I couldn't think of the bloody word haggis. But now I've remembered it here, I'll note it down or remember it. I'll pick up some haggis, cook it, and I'll dehydrate. I'll dehydrate that, and then that would kind of be interesting to compare a Hobbs haggis to an Expedition Meals haggis. But the pack's not doing too bad. Like I said, I think part of the problem is I've just got a very, very weak right shoulder. It's a bit of a pain. I just got to be a little bit cautious. This is now we're in the mist. This is just the bit where I got to kind of branch off a little bit. And I must admit, this bit that we've got to do now in the mist, this bit is easy to get wrong. I think I remember going past that grass, a wet bit there. I think we're going the right way. Yep, I think so. Oh, isn't this miserable weather though? Oh, God. But it's not cold. The temperature in the car was about 10 degrees, something like 10 degrees. Oh. We've got about 45 minutes until the sun goes down. About 45 minutes. It's 3:15, so we'll get pitched up. I don't think we'll get flooded out this time, because this will be the same pitch where we had the Nammatj 3 GT last time down here. And now we've got the Nammatj 2. And now we've got the Nammatj 2. But yeah, but the ground's not as wet. And yeah, there is heavy rain tonight and tomorrow. But like I said, the ground is not saturated at this moment in time. There's no big puddles or anything. So hopefully we don't get saturated out. This is why I like this. This is why I like the spring and summer, when you get nice weather. You're slightly more guaranteed better weather. We did pretty well last year, I guess, but still seem to remember a lot of wet, windy, miserable weather last year. Okay, well, I think what we'll do is, because the wind's coming this way from the west, I think we'll pitch it this way, and I think we'll definitely pitch it tail into the wind, because if I pitch it front into the wind, I'm going to have the wind coming right in the door. I know the new way, for some bizarre reason, is to pitch Hillebereg's front into the wind, but I don't quite. Maybe on the Nammatj you might get away with it, but because you've got such a big, a big front, but or the Nammatj 3 GT, I maybe should clarify. Another thing I seem to hear people crying about a lot, I don't quite know why, is about poles being a little bit pre-bent or, not straight. But that's the whole bloody point, you muppets. The poles, they go over a rounded shelter. So they're starting to get some strength, and if you ever have to change your bungee cord inside, try and make sure that your pre-bent sections are this bit, in the middle, like I had to do with this. I really kind of think that, if your poles have got a natural curve in them, I think that's a good thing. I don't see why you're all crying to mummy about it. I didn't quite get that one. Let's see. So we've never pitched this, and I took it out. So I think that's the front there, and that looks like the back. You obviously could follow, the recommended advice and Lassie, and secure the back of your shelter to your pack or something. I think just don't let go is my philosophy. Just make sure that all of your lines aren't caught up under anything. Okay, all right, one thing, I've pegged out the four corners. I think that's a good idea before putting your poles in, but I wouldn't do it, don't do it tight, quite loose. I've probably got it on the tight side, to be honest, but I think it'll be okay. But yeah, I've just peg it out very loosely, just loosen them off. I'm so used to, pegging out other shelters. Just peg it out very loosely and thread it through. So then you want to find that little cup thing and get it in there. That's it. Just make sure that your lines don't go under anything. I nearly brought Lizzie, but it's It's cold, it's wet, and I kind of think at the moment, well, I've got my parents, so you always just want to thread it through. I'm just going to go around because I don't think it's seated. Usually it fits in there quite nicely, but just sometimes it might just be a little bit tight, so that's why it's a really good idea to make sure that these pegs are really quite loose. We can then start pegging it out properly now. I think why I like this more than the nano is I think you've got better, bigger vents in it, and also I prefer the door in the side. Okay, I won't do the back two just for the moment. Let's just let's get the front pegged out properly. Oh, that's better. That's good. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll peg this line here out. I've also seen some people push this down flat. I don't get that either. A few pegs, so let's see what we've got. So we're going to want two more, well, three more at the back. Then we're going to want two there. So we'll pull that nice and tight. I'm using their pegs, which I think will be fine, but I must admit I probably would switch some out for Eastern pegs. The other reason why I say that pitch this to the back, because this has got extra pegging points, which clearly indicates this is the back, and you could probably save 2 or 3 grams with potentially a lighter peg there, but I really don't think these pegs are very I don't think these pegs are particularly heavy. And do your lines about 45, ish degrees, so you're going in, kind of like follow the line in, and that will give it some stability as well. I noticed Paul Messner's nano was blowing around a lot in the wind, and I'm just wondering whether he had his lines at 45 degrees to pull these sides apart. Obviously you don't get the front and the back, pegging out points like you get on here, which I do think is a big bonus. But if you peg these apart, then these two lines here, I don't know how well he pegged it. Yeah, looking good. That's an overhang on that. That does look cozy. I must admit, even though I obviously prefer, it's definitely it's definitely smaller than the 3GT, but that's obvious. I mean, we clearly knew that was going to be the case. Very nice. For the moment, sort of borrowing on loanee from a friend out on the other side of the pond. But I must admit, if we can, if he's feeling reasonably generous, I must admit I do rather like this. Let's take that out. Oh, that's still, I mean, you know, like I said, it's not it's not the GT, but it's still pretty generous though. Does anyone else have problems with their torch turning on by itself? That's kind of handy, this little thing here, so you get a little bit of shelter if it's raining to stop rain getting in at you. That's quite a nice little feature there. I'll open up the vents a bit more. Okay, all right, I'm going to go and get water. Hang on, you're going to want to come with me, because those that watch are going to want to come with me and get water. Sometimes I've got to not literally pressure myself to film, but sometimes I kind of have to say, come on, let us film.